Hey there, freelancepreneurs. Welcome to this video. I'm going to be covering for the Freelance Fast Cash basically series, looking at probably about 50 to 60 videos, and then kind of go from there and see how it goes. But this video is going to cover the basically, I'd say, phenomenon of selling game skins. Now, sort of like trading on the market, which based on the audience I'll be sending this video to is probably sort of familiar with, but essentially you can buy and sell different game skins. You can even make them yourself and kind of resell them, but we're going to get into it here that it's sort of supply and demand related. Obviously, the more supply there is, the less demand there's going to be. But of course, you can kind of trade in the middle there too. There's other things you got to consider, such as the taxes and fees that places such as Steam charges. I will get into that here a little bit later in the video. But we're just going to show the general market going on. This is actually a live market right now, as you can see. There's a lot of things being sold here. This is a Spectrum 2 case. This isn't a skin particularly, but there's a market of people buying and selling in the CSGO area here. This is a more specific example here of this is just a generalized skin. This is one of the more popular ones. As you can see here, you got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 sold, 2, 3 for some spikes, resulting in a little bit more. There a variety of pricing kind of differs, but as you can see, some people are probably just buying, holding, waiting, and then they're reselling for a little bit more. As you can see here, someone sold one as much as 65. In other words, it's kind of a commodities sort of market where you can buy the skin, resell it. There's videos and tutorials on all that. I don't really get into it much myself. I've dabbled with it before, made a little bit of money. I would say it's sort of worth it if you know the niche, and I'm just not that familiar with it. So the video here, continuing the video here of different pricing that they use, and you can see the range here. I wouldn't personally go outside of Steam to do this. Steam is the basically the official place that you should be going through, considering Valve is the owners of all of the CSGO kind of stuff. As you can see here, just as a general thread, using trading bots and betting and scamming and things like that are a little bit on the gray area or shady area, depending on the country. It may or may not be legal, but personally, I just stick with standard Steam trading back and forth through the community market that they offer. Not going to get too much into that, but there's a big scandal going on with essentially a gambling website where the person posted up a YouTube video of them doing the, I don't know how to put it here, doing a video of themselves gambling on their own website for high-end CSGO skins and things like that, and it didn't quite work out in their favor because someone found out that the owner of the website is the same one doing the YouTube videos, and it's a big fraud case, and it's just not a market in that particular area that you'd want to get into for the gambling end of things and the betting ending of things. But the back and forth trading is sort of viable, as this guy kind of gets into. And I will post the link to the video here, but the guy's name is Little Panda. And as you can see here, you could say yes, it's profitable. He recommends only doing this with the Steam market only, not going into the third-party websites. That gets a little bit risky. Obviously, there's risk alone because it's like buying and trading stocks. You're trading a skin for a hopeful value for later on for that CSGO skin or whatever you might be trading in particular. There's different tools you can use like Steam Companion or Steam Analyst, as he recommends. They show more in depth of basically the Steam market and the buy-sell flow. What you'd want, obviously, is a popular enough traded particular skin, and you hold on to it and hold on to it, and then you wait until the demand for it gets a little bit higher, but there isn't as much supply, and then you'd resell that supply. It's sort of like trading stocks, as he says here: buy low, sell high. For us, that means to buy low, sell high. To do that, we must choose the skins we buy carefully. You want to check what are underpriced, or you don't want to be dealing with the overpriced ones. You want to keep the range relatively small. You're not going to be able to unload a bigger ticket item as easily as you would be a smaller ticket. You're dealing with consumers with a much smaller budget, so people with usually less than $100 to burn through. So that's why he's recommending the smaller average price. You want a stable trend. You want to wait and find the opportunity of a dip. He's kind of almost like charting here in this, which is kind of interesting. But I'm not going to go too much into this. There's ones that have demand temporarily, there's ones that don't. There's rare promotional skins. There's other things that can kind of change the value of this market. Then you obviously you can get stuck with the inventory that might not sell, much like in real life, as he points out. Sometimes there's spikes up and spikes down. As you can see here, there's for like different events and things going on, you might actually end up getting more during those events. And just it goes on to more policies about trading and things like that. Skin cases. And basically, is it legal? I kind of sort of covered that earlier. Yes and no. It's a gray area depending on the country you're in, how you're doing it. If you make too much, you have to fill out certain forms. If you make too much in a given other country, it can depend on that. The thing with doing this also is that you pay a significant percentage. I believe it's 15% to Valve for everything here, and then you pay taxes on top of that. So if you sell something for $1, you're going to be paying 15 cents just outright, and then depending on your tax bracket, you might be paying 15 cents for that as well. So your end game profit has to be above those tax brackets and above the fees that Valve charges. 10% goes, according to Valve, to funding CSGO competitions. So basically, you're paying 15%, 15, 20% on your tax brackets. So you're looking at about 20, 25%, maybe a little bit more if you're in a higher bracket, is going to end up costing you more in the end. So you got to be very, very careful. He goes in a lot of detail. I'm not going to cover everything here. I'm just trying to see if he highlights any specific points that are worth mentioning to you guys. As you see here, if you buy an apple for $1 and sell it $1.50, you earn 50 cents. If you buy 1,000 apples for 1,000 and you sell for 1,500, you make 500. They're not exactly apples, but he's just trying to use basic examples and never spend beyond what you can afford. Don't lock in for basically virtual goods. You're not gonna like make a living off of it necessarily, but you can make a nice side income. I know from talking to some third party people that kind of do this, they do this more as like their currency because the value of the CSGO skins are actually more valuable than their currencies within the country that they reside. So if you're outside of the US, this might be a good opportunity to consider. Within the US, you're maybe wasting your time. There's better opportunities I covered in other videos, but I'm not going to go too much into detail there. Other thing to consider is buying and the selling of Team Fortress 2 keys. You guys might sort of be familiar with this if you're familiar with the skin selling kind of thing and buying, but they kind of fluctuate in price. Interestingly enough, I've actually used to do this kind of thing. I don't really do this anymore, but the key I actually have is only $1.40, and I have like 20 of them right now, so I've literally made 100% return on investment. But I kind of forgot about them, so I have like 10, 15 keys left. So, I mean, kind of depending on what you do with this, I won't go into too much detail. That's a video for maybe another segment here, but even then, these are viable too. These sell like hotcakes kind of thing, and back and forth trading. A lot of people trade them for different bundles and things like that from Humble Bundle. And if you're familiar with those kind of places, and you can use them, and then you can resell them, and then you can go and transfer that to PayPal, and you can make a little bit of profit there. And when I used to do it, I used to make upwards of maybe 100, 200 a week, and I didn't really do a whole lot. You basically buy the bundle and you wait till the sale ends, and then you resell the bundle of games in there or individual games for more profit. And I will get into more details about that in another video. This one was more focused on the CSGO skins and game skins in general, and just to give you an idea of how all of that works. And you can just an idea of where you can get them if you're into the TF2 aspect is you can buy them straight from there, and sort of like the CSGO skins, there's value fluctuations. They go up and down. Depending on the country you're in, the taxes may be less or more, so it's kind of a wiggle room. I think it's more of a long term investment sort of thing. Obviously, as I said, you can resell them and trade them for other things. This is just one of the trading sites that I used to use, and it's fairly legitimate now that it's not associated with Steam, but it's already established more than enough trust that you don't really have to worry about it, because people end up ultimately having like a trade trust reputation kind of thing, and they have to contact you directly through Steam, and you can kind of make your own judgments. Sort of like if you're familiar with Facebook Marketplace, that you can look at their feedback, you can look at and with Steam, you can look at how many games they own, if they have any VAC bans or things like that, so you know what to avoid. VAC bans are like if they were hacking or something like that, or their account looks a little fishy, like if they have 5 games on their Steam account. Just things like that that you want to watch out for. If you like this video, I do cover a variety of other videos from 2 different channels, from my stock channel to different freelancing things, other things you do to make money on the side. And they're all here on this particular channel too that you're currently watching this video on. So if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, make sure to like the video and comment below with tips for selling your own CSGO skins if you did that before, or if you have any other videos that you want me to do similar to this. Thanks, and see you later.